Welcome. My name is Clare Bolton, and I'm the gallery manager at the Aurora Cultural Center. Welcome to our first online launch party for our first online exhibition, Beyond the Walls, June 15th to September 26th, 2020, showcasing the art of the Uxbridge Artist Collective. This is the first time we've had a digital event like this one, so we thank you all for joining us for this stream. To visit our online gallery, please go to our website at auroraculturalcenter.ca and navigate to the gallery page. I'm happy to be here with gallery assistant Christina DiPella and my co-host today, artist and curator Carmel Brennan. Before we begin the celebration, let us welcome Suzanne Haynes, the executive director, to say a few words.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Claire. Welcome and thank you for joining us for the Uxbridge Collective Artist Launch, our first ever virtual art gallery exhibition and sale. This is the last exhibition of our 2019-2020 season. However, due to the issues of the day, it now bridges into our 2020-2021 season. There are a couple of factors that led us to this virtual exhibition. In the middle of 2019, we discovered that the new venue being added to the Heritage Building as part of the town's Library Square project would remove our second egress, making it unsafe for us to operate in that space. We worked with town staff to find a suitable home for all of our programs, including our galleries. The town has outfitted the second floor of Town Hall as a temporary location for us, and Claire and her team launched into conversations with all of our artists to use this newly renovated space. Then the coronavirus pandemic hit and all venues were closed. As a staff team, we pondered our next steps as it became clear that this would not be a short-term closure. In April, we decided to move the Uxbridge Collective exhibition and sale Beyond the Walls, and Claire and the team climbed the steep learning curve to jury, curate, learn new technologies, and build an online virtual gallery show. The results are incredible in such a short time. Thank you to the whole team for your dedication, innovation, and overtime to make this exhibition a reality. On behalf of the Board of Directors and the Aurora Cultural Center staff team, we are so proud to present Beyond the Walls to our community. I'll now pass it back to Claire and Carmel to guide us through the launch and tell you more about what you're going to see in this virtual exhibition and sale.
Thank you again, Suzanne. Welcome again, everyone, to our first interactive digital launch with special guest artists from the Uxbridge Artist Collective. We hope you take this opportunity to ask questions or give us input. We encourage you to type any questions into the Facebook chat box throughout this event. Christina will be moderating the questions near the end of the launch. This event will be recorded live. It'll be saved on video, so you can visit our Aurora Cultural Center Facebook page. In this exhibition, we're showcasing 51 artworks in a variety of disciplines by 18 artists from the Uxbridge Artist Collective. Some of the artists are watching on Facebook today. We hope they'll join us on the Facebook chat to ask questions or make any comments. The exhibition and sale will continue online until September 26th. So invite your friends. The Aurora Cultural Center is really pleased to have created a partnership with the Uxbridge Artist Collective. We've worked with some of these artists since 2010, Carmel being one of them, who was in our first group exhibition. Many of the artists in this collective have art careers that have spanned decades, and they've shared their knowledge with our community. During the very first exhibition we had with the collective in 2012, they did curated tours, they did art demos, they did workshops, they did art talks. They really generously gave of themselves. They're members of organized, they're actually, many of them are teachers, and they're, some of them teach at Ontario College of Art and Design, for example, or Halliburton School of Fine Art. They're artists that they're at the top of their game. They've dedicated their whole lives to a career in the arts, and that's why this group is a little bit different than a lot of other groups. And they do tend to mentor other artists. And now we just want you all to know how much we appreciate you if you're watching. Carmel, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Uxbridge Artist Collective?
Well, thank you, Claire. Thank you for those kind comments. Well, the Uxbridge studio tour began in 1994, not too many years ago. This is our 36th anniversary virtually. It's a new experience for us doing it virtually. It's held annually on the third weekend of September. The tour offers visitors a behind-the-scenes view of artists making art, and visitors get a sense of their personal environment, their studios. The Uxbridge Artist Collective was formed from this group in 2008 in order to give greater exposure for the members in the province. The Uxbridge Studio Tour covers such a huge geographic area, it's too large to cover in a weekend. So I asked myself back in 2008, why couldn't we take these artists on tour in the province? The seed of the Uxbridge Artist Collective began to germinate. And now this is our 10th exhibition. Can you imagine? All these members are professional artists who work steadily on their art and add an incredible wealth of skills and varying perspectives to the group as a whole. This is our third exhibit with you with the Aurora Cultural Center. Hey, isn't that great? Back to you, Claire.
That's fantastic. As I mentioned earlier, we really do appreciate you. Sorry, there was a truck going by. That's the excitement of online, so I had to just close my window. We are going to honor each participating artist now with a collage of the artists in their studios. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the faces behind the art. Oh, that was great. Thank you. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Carmel, I know at the beginning for the center, it was a challenge to present this work in an engaging way online. And, you know, as soon as we found out we couldn't present it in our gallery space, so we've decided to have the online art events, the art bites, just so that we can have some interaction between the audience and the artists. When I first asked you about presenting the exhibit online, can you tell me how you felt about that and what was the reaction from some of the artists?
Well, I was a little hesitant about the chances of an actual virtual experience working. I think the artists were in the same frame of mind as I was, but with a little bit of effort, 18 artists came on board. We didn't really have anything to lose, and here we are. It's a new world and we're learning new skills in order to promote our artistic ventures. I'm really very happy with the results of this virtual experience.
Oh, thank you, Carmel. I'm really glad that you decided to come along for the adventure. It really has been an exciting time. Now I'm going to invite Carmel to take everyone on a virtual tour of several works in the exhibition. You'll have an opportunity also, of course, to learn about other artists in this exhibit through our art event series in July, August, early September. But here's a little bit of a background on about 5 of the artists to get you started. And to begin with, we're going to start with Carmel Brennan herself, who is an award-winning artist. She's multidiscipline, photographer, painter, teacher, writer, and she's a recorder of images. And Carmel's camera, she has said, is a sketchbook for documenting life. And I find through the years, a lot of her artwork has a story behind it. And I particularly love her photographs. And one of my favorite photographs is actually in this exhibit, and it's a haunting image, actually. It's hard to believe that she didn't manipulate the photo in any way, but she didn't. Carmel, can you start the tour by talking about yourself, the Ness Battery Orkney?
I love this image too, I really do. When I first went to Orkney, I had no idea what I was discovering. I went over there in July of 2018 to do an archaeology and printmaking course. These are the islands north of Scotland, and that area was the main base for the British Navy's fleet in both World Wars. And the Ness Battery, which is what this shot is, that was a crucial site in the defenses of the western approaches to the Scapa Flow, one of the world's finest anchorages. In World War II, the site became a coastal defense battery once more, armed with huge guns. The guns remained there until 1955, and the site was used for training until 2001, and then sold to the Orkney Islands Council. This image that I shot barely touches the feeling of being in the area when you realize how significant the approach was. In October of 1939, a daring attack by a German U-boat successfully sunk the HMS Royal Oak at anchor, killing 834 men. The U-47 had quietly entered the Scapa Flow through the eastern side, utilizing the high tide and the gaps in the existing block ships from World War I. This attack prompted the building of the Churchill defenses, which now, these are causeways that now link all the islands, creating strong barriers and effective defenses. Can you imagine if that hadn't been built, what would have happened? Anyway, that's enough of my work. Let's talk about some of the more interesting pieces in the show. Mark Pugimarty, he's a blacksmith, but not what you'd expect as one who shoes horses. His tall piece, In Transition, is a freestanding sculpture. It exploits the process of forging a solid rectangular steel bar primarily on its edge. He uses extreme texture and intriguing valleys to draw you in as the shapes spiral to a taper. He told me this week that he used about 150 heats to make this piece. One heat, the steel bar actually changes. He hammers it and then he adds another heat and so on until he's satisfied with his work. He invited me this week to go down and try doing this kind of thing. So I'm pretty excited, but he warned me that I should come in cooler weather. It's way too hot right now. Glass artist Gail Temple told me why her piece is called Fly Me to the Moon. She was listening to Frank Sinatra while building this artwork, and that's why the title. I thought that was great. It's a mixed media sculpture, mainly of glass, but also includes a tree made of yards and yards of black steel wire. It's got a half plasma cut steel base plate, a hand-finished wooden piece upon which the steel tree is embedded in glass, and it's mounted with copper wire, copper foil, and resin. Wow, it's fabulous, and it's really large. Now, Daniel Colby, I don't know whether you've heard of him before, but most people in Uxbridge know him as a portrait artist. He is Ross Colby's son, and Ross is also in the show. He's our furniture designer. Normally, I think of Daniel just doing portrait painting, but here he has done a landscape. It's got a beautiful play of light. He used acrylic on canvas, and because he lives in Montreal and he often travels between Uxbridge in Ontario to Montreal, and he uses a train, he takes pictures, and this is one of his interpretations of a farmer's field. Isn't that beautiful? Another of our artists, Bert Liverance, is a highly skilled realistic painter. I just love this painting called Ottawa Maidens. It's so realistic that it's almost abstract. I appreciate the simplicity of his complementary color scheme. Bert says that every spring, the world's largest tulip festival explodes with color in Ottawa. The tulips are a reminder of Canada's role in promoting international friendship, the original symbolic role of the gift of tulips. Interesting, eh? Back to you, Claire.
Thank you, Carmel. That was really, really enjoyable. I'm just really amazed at Daniel Colby's work because I'm so used to seeing his portraits.
Yep.
I really love the energy of his landscapes. Thanks so much for that. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce special guests this afternoon. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves out there, having your cup of tea and watching. We have this afternoon Joan Yerema and Yerema Weaver. They are a mother and daughter painting team. In the tradition of Renaissance artists, Joan and Jay combine their brushstrokes to create unique paintings filled with character. Joan's essentially a self-taught artist who's mastered both traditional and non-traditional mediums through extensive exploration and trial. Jay is her daughter, and Jay is a graduate of the Ontario College of Art and Design. And she mentioned that through this formal education, she has been introduced to a wide range of different styles. That's ignited a passion in her to continuously develop as an artist. And her style is described as classical realism combined with contemporary experimentation. So Joan and Jay, you are the first mother and daughter painting team that I've met in my career in the arts. Can you tell us the inspiration behind painting as a team?
Well, I think it was probably our visit to Italy, where we lived for a time in
2000,
yeah.
20 years ago now. Hard to believe.
And I think that's when we realized that a lot of the old masters painted, were shared painters. Like they would have people filling in parts and so forth and so on. We thought we like it working together, so maybe we should formalize it a bit.
Like I always say, we've actually been painting together all my entire life. Mom was always a very natural artist, a very good artist. And when I was a little kid, Mom always would help me. So we developed that sort of symbiotic relationship in the fact that our work sort of complemented each other over a lifetime of practice. But we formalized it in 2000 after being in Italy and realizing that the masters really had all kinds of apprentices. So every masterpiece you look at that's accredited to one artist, it's actually many artists. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun to combine our brushstrokes and create Joan and Jay originals that were one where you couldn't delineate who was painting in what area.
Oh, and I must tell you, we also lived in Florence, and the Uffizi Gallery was one thing that blew my mind.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah, you can't help but be inspired in Italy.
And that's how it happened.
Oh. And the painting behind you, Le Fleur, is actually in this exhibition, and that's the upside of being online. That is a large painting. Hard to show in a lot of galleries. Anything else you want to add to that? Tell people about your work?
Well, we take turns choosing subjects. So at one time it'll be Mom's turn, and the next time it will be my turn to choose the direction we wanted to go in. But they evolve. So sometimes you have an idea or a vision, and the other person's hands on your work all of a sudden takes on a new life. So we never know what we're going to actually end up with at the end. But we start out with a goal, and it evolves, and it's a creative process, and we often we'll call a martini our muse when it's getting a little tense. But big paintings are fun to work on because we talk the entire time. Like the piece behind us was a real adventure. And little ones are a little more challenging sometimes, eh?
Well, there's no room for two prima donnas.
Who gets the final say? Who gets the final say?
Mom's a boss. She always pulls the mom card.
We always defer to Mom. Good.
Yes, right.
Well, that's worth her life.
That's right. I wouldn't be here painting without her, so she gets the final say.
Oh.
And that's it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for coming, for joining us, and for the next. We're going to be watching a video of the artist in action painting. This painting
so
is Clare, and so it's really fun to show this video. And you really don't get the idea of the scale of the painting until you watch this video. So thanks for creating this video, and let's all sit back and join Joan and Jay and watch this video. Thank you, Joan and Jay. It was great having you. That was so much fun. It was great having you here this afternoon. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please check the schedule on our website and join us on select Thursdays throughout July, August, and early September to learn more about the artists and their work. Now, upcoming art events, there's some interesting. There's 3 interesting ones coming up with Carmel Brennan herself on location, virtual location that is. Carmel will be in conversation with artists in Tennessee, Ireland, and British Columbia. So Carmel, can you tell us a little bit about these particular artists, how they're connected to the Uxbridge Artist Collective?
Well, Claire, I can, and I'm hoping they're out there in the Facebook world, because I know Neil and his wife are going to try and access us. And if they want to make a comment, they can go on the comment sheets and make, I don't know how to do that, but I met Neil, Greg, by chance. I was waiting for a group of OSA artists and friends to arrive in Dublin for a painting trip we were going to do in Dingle, Ireland. I decided while I was waiting, I don't like to waste time, I would take a painting workshop. And I literally picked his name out of a hat. I was on my laptop and which artists are doing what, and he was doing a workshop on Coney Island in County Sligo. That's a tidal island. And it was an adventure to get there because you have to wait till the tide goes out. And I was frightened out of my boots and my rental car. Anyway, it was an adventure. And that's how I met Neil. He's an excellent teacher. I learned lots from him. And then the OSA invited him for a month-long visit. He came to Uxbridge and he came up to Killarney. He stayed at my place and he did some workshops for the OSA and he did workshops for Uxbridge people. So then his flight was covered by the Arts Office of County Monaghan, which was really good. It was a hoot. Fellow artists, Carol and Charlie Stevens, they live now in Tennessee, and we've been friends since the 90s. They've joined OSA members and Uxbridge artists on various excursions in Ontario and in Ireland. Carol is a painter, and Charlie is a sculptor. In fact, I'm wearing a Charlie piece because he's had to make them smaller, you know, so I can wear it. Both are exceptional photographers as well. John Price and Shelley Burke are plein air painters from Ontario, but they're now living on Vancouver Island. John is a member of the Ontario Society of Artists, and both he and Shelley have been involved with the Uxbridge Studio Tour in former years. Shelley was involved with the early Uxbridge Artist Collective exhibitions. And these 5 of these 6 artists have all painted together in Killarney, Ontario. Neil's wife, Eileen Ferguson, she's a mixed media painter. She's the only one who hasn't yet been involved, but hopefully we can get her into it soon. And she's invited over here many times. Anyway, back to you, Claire.
Thank you, Carmel. I'm really looking forward to those conversations as well as all the other art events we have. And I really love the idea that Neil was able to paint in Killarney, Ontario, and then the artists were able to paint in Ireland, and especially that the Ontario Society of Artists and the Arts Office of County Monaghan both were so supportive of the artist's professional development. I think that's an amazing thing. And I'm so happy. I know that you mentioned that Neil loves the Ontario landscape, so we know we love the Irish landscape as well, but there's so many beautiful places in Ontario. So I hope Neil does come back. Maybe he'll do a workshop at the Aurora Cultural Center one day. Now it's time for Christina to moderate the questions. That went fast.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to start by saying how exciting it is seeing everyone in the chat here on the Facebook Live page. I know that I can see some of the artists who have work in the show, Gail and Judith, some members of our board, Eric and Bonnie. So a big hello to you all. One of the questions that has come up is from, that I would direct to Carmel, is what is it about Uxbridge Artist Collective that inspires such a talented group of artists? What is the sort of inspiration that you've seen?
Well, they each have their own stories and their own ways of going about things. And I find them fascinating. I have never been bored going to a studio. When I'm on the studio tour, it's awful. Well, it's lovely, except that I'm stuck in my own studio and I can't go and see all the other studios. They are such talent, and they bring in guest artists. They'll have 2 and 3 guest artists, and it's amazing to see the work that comes out of them. Just wonderful. I can't say enough about them. I love working with them. I love working with the collective, and I intend to continue that until they put me 6 feet under.
I'm sure that it's been just great working with you as well, Carmel. Just to follow up with that question, when we're talking about the collective, you have so many different disciplines and practices. What is it like working with artists whose work vary in so many different forms, from painting to sculpture to, yeah.
Well, that just adds an interest to it. You know, we're not all painters. We have so many different disciplines. Pottery, sculpture, you know, the painting, the printmaking, photography, you name it, blacksmithing. It is just endless what we cover. And these guys are pros. They're all pros at what they do. That's all I can say.
Since we're talking about the artwork, I guess I would direct this question that we have here for Clare. Clare, are the artworks in the show, are they for sale? And sort of what does the purchasing process look like now that we're not in the gallery?
Okay, thank you, Christina. Yes, it's an exhibition and sale. Several of the artists will do custom orders as well. It's just, once you're online and you want to buy something, you just do a click, and there's a lot of magic happening, and it's quite straightforward, the process. I will facilitate the sale, and if people are interested, I'll connect the patron with the artist. I'll be happy to do that, and the artwork will be delivered or shipped from the actual artist studio, of course. And if people have an interest in work that the artists have done, I'm happy to facilitate. They may want to visit the artist's studio when things open up again. And I know even in the fall, they're planning a studio tour, see what happens, but I can facilitate that. So yes, the artwork is for sale. It's never been a better time to buy art.
That's so fantastic, Clare. Thank you. I guess to sort of build on that, when we're talking about the digital sphere, does the Aurora Cultural Center plan on integrating online elements with more of its exhibitions going forward? Like, is this something that parts might continue now that we've done it once?
Thank you, Christina. I think we've christened the online launch party. I hope everybody out there's having a good time. And thank you for joining us today, because this is our very first time. As part of our strat plan quite a while ago, with Suzanne Haynes's encouragement, we had wanted more online activities, but as the times happened, we were just pushed a little faster, which is a good thing, really, because we see a lot of potential for more online activities, and it opens up the whole world, like, you know, visitors from Ireland and Tennessee. It opens up it opens up a different aspect. It's always great to still go inside a gallery and feel and see that art, but it adds a nice element, and we plan to keep doing it. So
that's
you.
So exciting. I have sort of a question, maybe just to build on what you were talking about, Clare, that if Carmel, you want to answer first, and then Clare, you can follow up. When we're talking about this and how it's exciting, what's something about this exhibition that excites you the most? Now that it's open, it's launched, people can see it. What are you sort of, what are you most excited about? I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, the fact that we're interactive, because you're going to have these art bites, and you can get more of a sense of what's happening. You know, there's videos to do with some of the artists and all that. And it looks fabulous. It just looks beautiful when you see the work on screen. It's as beautiful as walking into a gallery, into the Aurora Cultural Center. I mean, I really wish we could have a real physical show and go in, and I love the opening. I love seeing everybody, but this is still pretty incredible. I'm happy. I hope everybody else is happy, and out there in the Facebook world, I hope you're happy. Love to hear from you.
Thank you, Carmel. I just agree with Carmel, and I think that what I love about the Uxbridge Collective is the diversity of mediums that they work in, and the glass and the blacksmithing. I know we actually did have some sculpture in 2015 in the center, and we had Mark's video, and we have had them in the gallery space. But what I like about the online is people can look at their own pace and go back and from wherever they are, or send the link to a friend and get a conversation going. And I really like the fact that the artists were so willing to do these art events in June, July, and early August, and actually early September, because I think the audience will be pleasantly surprised at how engaging online can be.
That's so fantastic, Claire. Thank you. We have about 2 questions left that I'm seeing here, but if anyone watching wants to add their questions to the chat on Facebook, now is a great time. This question actually, if you're up for it, I would like to throw this to Joan and Jay, our wonderful guest artists. The works that you have in the exhibition, the flower, the refugee, the pear, all 3 of these paintings they are very different paintings. And I'm just wondering, what's some of the thinking behind these paintings being the ones you want to exhibit? If there's anything you want to share about your selection.
I do mine. Okay. We chose those based on size, because this is the freedom of an online exhibition that normally as an artist, we never feel. We didn't have to worry about size. So the smallest one of the grapes is very little. It's only 8 by 8. And then the refugee is a little larger. And then of course we have our giant Le Fleur behind us, because we didn't want to be limited by the size of the walls. And even the exhibition being called Beyond the Walls seemed like a really fun opportunity to really take advantage of that space and add another dimension that couldn't be done otherwise. So
That's beautiful.
that's how we were looking at it. But we work in a variety of styles and a lot of subject matter. And we just
a variety of sizes.
Yes, a variety of sizes. So
that's it.
It was a nice opportunity, and really thank you for all this, the thought that's behind this show. And I do think it's going to change how we all exhibit our work in the future. And you guys are kind of leaders in the forefront at the Aurora Cultural Center. So thank you for this and all the work that's been behind the scenes.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much. And just from the center, thank you again for joining us today. It was really great getting to hear more about your practice, and to see you in comparison to the painting is just delightful. The final question that I have here right now is for Claire and Carmel. I'm thinking maybe Carmel, if you want to answer first, and then Claire, you can lead out. Basically, as co-curators, what is the experience like trying to curate a show that is not physically in front of you? What are some of the things you're thinking about when, this goes here and this goes here, when the works aren't in the room?
Well, I think, Katie, that most of us in the last 10 or so years have become accustomed to jurying, judging, curating online, because that's the way it's tended to go. I've worked with Claire so often now, it's like, we can read each other's minds. So she's pretty easy to work with for me. And it's almost the same as getting all the pieces delivered to the physical building and then going to, organize them, you can move them around. It's the same thing in a virtual experience. you know, we could put it side by side, choose which ones work. And yeah, I think it was fairly easy. What do you think, Claire?
I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. I thought we, as you say, I think we both are on the same wavelength a lot of times. So actually, sometimes you would say it changed just before I did, or it's just, I find it's an intuition a lot. It's an organic process. But I think one thing that you had suggested, Carmel, was to make sure there was that mixture, and I think that was the key. We mixed up all the disciplines for people. I think we were very fortunate that this show had such a variety, because I think it's a really great online exhibition with all the variety. But it was fun. For me, it was a little bit different, because sometimes you curate online, but then when you get into the physical space, you move things around a lot more, because you can't really tell till it's on the wall. But I found it a bit easier online to curate, and we had a lot less fights, Carmel.
I would imagine that there's also a lot less heavy lifting when you're just working with pictures. I know, if I may, from my experience of looking at the exhibition, I'm most excited by all of the colors. So many of these artists, the sculptures, the painters, like everything, the bright colors just really, they make me excited. Summer's coming up, and that's what I'm feeling. So it looks like we're sort of out of questions for right now. So thank you, everyone who submitted questions in the chat or ahead of time. And I'll just turn it back over to Claire.
Thank you, Christina. That was wonderful. I just wanted to say a few more words before everybody leaves Facebook. The organizations such as the Uxbridge Artist Collective, they support emerging artists, they mentor them, they help the community learn about the process behind the art, you know, glassmaking, blacksmithing, and they also, and another part of it is for the artists themselves, there's that professional development aspect, which I think in Canada, we are so fortunate to have such amazing artists. And I think that professional aspect for artists, I think a lot of people, not so much anymore, but when I first started 20 years ago, people didn't appreciate the training involved in being an artist. And I think that has changed. But the actual professional opportunities, they can't really happen without the support of organizations. And I guess I really like being a part of the Aurora Cultural Center, because I feel we're a bridge between the artists and the community. And I think, you know, to host something like this, whether it's virtual or in person, is such a privilege. And I appreciate that. I appreciate over the years, the one thing that always amazes me is the generous spirit of artists. I mean, I guess because they're passionate about what they're doing, they usually are so willing to share their knowledge. And so I just want to say, we're really, really privileged to have, to work with you, Carmel, and to have this exhibition.
Well, thank you, Claire. You know, Aurora is quite a unique place. I mean, you're really supportive of the arts there. We appreciate the Aurora Cultural Center because you keep inviting us back, and you've been so supportive of the collective. But Aurora is unique, and I'm looking forward to when that construction is complete in 2 years, because it's going to be a great art center. And I'm hoping that other areas in the province will take note of how good it is for the arts. Now, I know Ireland supports their artists, but Aurora is particularly good here. So thank you. It's been wonderful.
Thank you, Carmel, for those words. We all know art's very good for us, and we hope everybody's had an enjoyable afternoon. And on behalf of the Aurora Cultural Center, I'd like to thank the audience for joining us this afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Please visit auroraculturalcenter.ca, navigate to our gallery page for a schedule of all the upcoming events. So I'd like to say thank you, take care of yourselves, and we hope to see you soon, online and in person. Thanks, Carmel.